Hi, I'm Anissa.
I'm Sophie Hannah.
I'm Monah.
And I'm Tariyé, and I would like to welcome you to episode 59 of Ethnically Speaking, the show where we talk about all of the issues affecting the UK's highly melanated communities, from politics to pop culture and everything in between. We always keep it 100, and today, ladies, we are discussing the topic of whether or not it is okay for some men to cheat on their partners. So, it seemed we were going to get out of the month of March relatively unscathed. However, we then quickly became assaulted in social media with a lot of celebrity cheating scandals. That's right. That's why I'm dubbing March the Ides of Infidelity. Now, it started with Quavo and the rumors of his infidelity with his now ex-girlfriend, rapper Saweetie, just hours after they had unfollowed themselves on social media. And then came the infidelity rumors about Alex Rodriguez allegedly stepping out on Jennifer Lopez. And then we scored a hat trick with influencer and relationship coach Derrick Jaxn confessing to his followers that he had been unfaithful to his wife with multiple women for multiple years. Controversial YouTuber Kevin Samuels says that women should expect high-value men to cheat on their partners, and that it is not only to be expected but accepted if women are to maintain the lives that such partners give them. So, with that in mind, ladies, would you give your partner a free pass to cheat if they upgraded your lifestyle? Do you think that women are more likely to accept bad behavior from men with money? Let's get it poppin'.
No times 150 million. Every part of me is saying no. How I feel, first of all, I didn't know this Derrick man until this video started coming about on social media. I don't know his wife and I don't know him. I know a bit about the story. What I do know is that his GCSE drama play of a YouTube video really dragged my sis through it. He had her come up on her bonnet, not say one word, hold her hand whilst he was saying this, and I thought, you look like you're in the sunken place, my love. Blink twice just to let me know if you want someone to come and save you. I could have slapped the man through the screen. The nerve of him to sit there, speak about this situation, refer to himself as a high-value man. First of all, that term is very subjective. What is a high-value man? Do you feel that because you are successful, maybe have a lot of money in the bank, that gives you the free ticket of infidelity? Hell no. Absolutely not. I think it's absolutely disgusting that he could sit there with his woman and even allow these words to fall out of his mouth. And I'm not too sure if anybody was able to see the reaction video of him commenting on his video, referring to himself in third person. The whole thing is so sickening. I think that this idea that is being put out that men are it's like men's behavior. Men can't control themselves. Men are going to cheat. It's expected. As a woman, you should take it on the chin. I think that is disgusting because I've seen studies where both men and women have been asked, if you were to take your partner back after cheating, would you say yay or nay? Majority of men said no. They would not take their female partners back if they had cheated. Majority of the women did did they just say yes? They were a bit more open to negotiating and said, okay, well, it depends on the circumstances. Give me an example. What is there children involved? Hypothetically, are we married? There's a lot more negotiating there on the women's side than there is on the man's side. These dangerous gender roles, pushing it down people's throats that men will like to, sow their wild oats and explore what's out there, have different women like different flavors, different days of the week, and the woman is supposed to accept it. Whether you've got money in the bank or not, if you're with someone, you should stay with someone, you should be faithful to that person, you should be faithful to that person. If you're in a spell where you want casual sex, you want to be dating, you're not looking for a commitment, why would you drag somebody through the shame, the heartache, the insecurities that could potentially develop because of the circumstance. I know some friends who've been cheated and they've actually had to go to therapy because it's had that much of an effect on them. I think it's absolutely stupid that he could even sit there and say, if you want a high value man, these are the things that you just have to take on the chin. People can't be bought. You can't pay away someone's trauma.
I guess the thing is, though, like, Monah, is that some people can be bought. Like, I cannot stand Kevin Samuels. I can't stand him. I think he brings down men. I think that he has men reach for very low standards of what it takes to be a man. When Kevin Samuels talks about a high value man, the only thing he talks about is his bank balance, basically. If he's financially successful, he's high value because he's earning over 6 figures. And then a woman's job is to make sure that she competes with other women to get him and then does everything in her power to stay with him. And then on top of all of that, he's added in the next caveat, which is, and now that man is able to cheat because he's earning so much money. And I just feel like if you've committed to a monogamous relationship, and people talk about, Kevin Samuels wants to talk about Bible times and how, you know, men used to have various wives, David did and Solomon did. He needs to drop me with that, because I'm just like, that was a different time. That was a different culture. That happens in various cultures in the world, but not in the West. It doesn't. That doesn't happen in the West. So drop me with that. Number 2, all those examples in the Bible were examples of things that didn't go right. It went wrong. Like every single time there were multiple wives or another woman involved. So him using those as examples as how men used to do it in the past, it never brought any peace or happiness in those homes. It caused pure discord among the children. So I just feel like he uses what he wants in order to push this narrative. And it just makes me very, very upset, because women buy into it too. There are a lot of women that go on Kevin Samuels' show and said, I'm happy for my man to cheat on me if I can have the sort of lifestyle that they want. So women can be bought. Women do want to trade and allow a man to go and cheat because I think, as Kevin Samuels said, we shouldn't expect it. And, you know, it's kind of like their reward for earning money. And I just feel like, where does character come in? Because Kevin isn't concerned with character. He's not concerned with character. He's not concerned about the sort of man that you would want your daughter to bring home. Because all of this talk is very much for serving the man who's here now. But if your sister was treated like that, if your mum was treated like that, like he was just one of many, and it's like your mum should just accept that, men wouldn't be having that. But for them, it's kind of like, yeah, okay. And they hold on to Kevin. And I don't think a lot of the men that watch Kevin are actually 6-figure men. They're men who feel emboldened by somebody who in himself is just a nasty piece of work. And I'm talking about people who know. I have a friend who was just like, yeah, my friend knows Kevin. She sees him all the time at his shop, and he's just rude to the women there and he insults them. Like, this man is not the man who should be advocating on behalf of men, in my opinion. But let me take a seat back, because I could talk about him all day.
Do you know what? I honestly thank God that I've never watched Kevin Samuels' video. I've never watched any of this Derrick Jaxn video. I've stayed away from it as far as possible. I just thought, you know what? I'm minding, Tariyé had a cup earlier on that said minding my own business juice. That is what I literally do, be minding my own business on the internet. But what I will say is that I don't think with money involved, like, a man having more money gives him the allowance to cheat. I just think that's nonsensical, because relationships weren't built on, oh, you can only be monogamous if you earn X amount of money. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. So no, I think, and a parts of relationship, like, bro, my biggest thing is about loyalty, but I don't want to get into it because I think the cheating subject is so, like, you could talk about it forever, but I'm not going to go into it. But what I will say is, I think the second part of your question was about, are women more likely to accept more things in a relationship because of money? And I won't generalize and say that they are, but there are some women who are willing to accept more because of money. And sometimes it's not just because it's like, oh, he's got money, so he's going to cheat. Sometimes it's almost like they feel like they're backed into a corner, so they have to. Like, for example, if you are in a relationship with a high-profile man and you are financially dependent on him and you have kids with him, you have this whole lifestyle with him, but now he's, doing you dirty every moment he gets or whatever he's doing, you may feel compelled to stay because you're like, well, if I leave, how am I going to provide for myself? How am I going to provide for my kids? You might be more likely to forgive him just for the sake of you feel like you're not independent enough to do it on your own. So I feel like there are some women, that's just one example, but I feel like there are some women, when you're in a situation with a man who makes a certain amount of money, and if you have a certain level of dependence on him, or if you really like the lifestyle, certain things, you may be willing to turn a blind eye. You might just be willing to. I'm not one of those women, however, but there are women that do that. And so I think those women and those examples are what gives people like Kevin Samuels, if that's his name, the ammo to be like, okay, well, if he's got money, he can cheat, because maybe historically that's what he's seen.
Well, I guess the thing is for Kevin, to be honest, what he would say to all of us is that none of us make the grade anyway. We're not the right size. We're not the right, some of us don't wear our own hair.
We're too old.
We're not the right age. Yeah, we're not the right age. And we're not an 8, 9 or 10. We're not Beyonce, we're not Rihanna, we're not Kelly Rowland. So we would say this.
Is this what he says on these videos?
We couldn't get a high value man anyway. That's what Kevin would say. No, 100%. He, like, for him, it's kind of like he has women come on camera and he won't.
But do people pay him for this kind of advice? This is just a question. Do people pay him for this kind of advice?
He has a patron, and apparently people do pay him, but he rakes in a lot of money on YouTube, and women come on. He won't even let the women come on to talk to him online without having their Zoom picture up, unless they're in the flesh. Yeah. And he does that so he can tear them down. So when they say something, it's kind of like, you couldn't get a high value man anyway. With your, like, you was like, you need to lose some weight before you need to talk, because you're not even on the radar of a high value man. And it's just, he's a misogynist.
How is he even allowed?
Because men, look, there are lots of men in the comments who are just like, yes, Kevin, you're speaking the truth, you're speaking for us, you're this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, I don't believe men who are earning $500,000 are tuning in to watch Kevin Samuels. They're out there doing their thing. Like, they ain't got time to listen to him.
Exactly.
Yes,
oh my God, Sophie, I am so glad you said it, because notice all of the actual high value men, the ones who don't have to shout about it, they're busy. They're busy like tending to their portfolios and everything else. They don't have time for Kevin Samuels. So
YouTube videos.
The thing is, so now I'm going to ask a follow-up question, and that is cheating just a propensity of certain people's natures? Because economically speaking, you can be in the exact same tax bracket as your partner and they can still be unfaithful. I mean, for instance, we have Jay-Z, Beyonce, same tax bracket, he still cheated. Quavo and Saweetie, same tax bracket, Quavo still cheated, allegedly. Offset and Cardi, again, earning the same rough amount of money every year, same rough annual income, same tax bracket, Sha. He still cheated. So the fact of the matter, and also I read a very depressing study, which is that men who are poorer than their wives are also still more likely to cheat as a means of asserting their masculine independence. So is it just that? So the question is, my follow-up question is cheating just a thing that is in the propensity of certain individuals, regardless of what's in the bank?
Yes, but I'll let someone give a more
really,
detailed answer.
Elyse? Really? You think it
has to be? Like... Sorry, I don't want to jump in because I wanted someone else to speak. But I'll say very quickly.
Do you really think it's part of just some people's nature?
I do. I honestly think it has to be a part of your nature or your character. Not that it's long lasting over your character or nature, but it's definitely in it at a certain part. For me, that's what I'm saying. I think it's more about loyalty. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if I say that I'm a loyal person, I'm loyal to the soil, baby. And that's not just to my friends. That's not to my business. That's in all parts of my life. Men will be the first, I don't want to generalize, but some men will be the first to be screaming loyalty, loyalty over everything. And their loyalty to their boys and all this kind of stuff. But the loyalty is nowhere to be seen in their relationship to the woman that they apparently love. And that means you're not loyal, bro, because you're not loyal all across the board. And that is a character flaw for me personally, because you're ready to give it all up for a brief moment. Like, so for me, it's something in your character or in your nature. I won't say it's a permanent thing, but it could be a temporary thing. You might be insecure, or you might have low self-esteem at that moment. That is in your nature to do that. I just think it is something in your nature or character. I just think so. But sorry, someone else, go ahead.
What you just said there, Anissa, about the loyalty being subjective to different categories. You're loyal to your friends, you're loyal to your money, you're loyal to your job, but you're not loyal to your girlfriend. That doesn't make any sense to me, or the woman who's in your life, whatever. Just going off with some facts and figures
here. To the mother of your
here,
kids. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. I read that 18% to 25% of male Tinder users are in a committed relationship.
What?
Oh my God.
What?
So you're actively looking to be the spawn of the devil. You're actively on these apps, even though you have a partner at home. You can, like, just as Thierry's mentioned, all these women tick every box. Beautiful, intelligent, successful, have money in the bank. No, again, we're talking about men and women, but I'm just going to look at it from a female perspective. No woman is above being cheated on. And I think, yes, there are women who, quote unquote, believe that they can be bought. Now, women who think that money can make up for these things and they can be bought is completely different to a sugar baby. And I think some of these women who are speaking are sugar babies. Because if we look at, for example, Wendy Williams, right? She was married to Kevin for what? 22 to 25 years. Loved him, had one son, etc., etc. She knew. She said 15 years in their relationship, marriage, he had been a serial cheater. Okay, so you knew. She was fine with it, right? Pretty sure she makes more money than he does. He now has a baby with a woman. Oh, no. That's it, it's over the towels in now. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. But I'm so sorry, 15 years of infidelity, different women. Yes, I understand how a baby is a product of something that reminds you, but you were in agreement with this man that he could do this. And this is what goes back to my point, that I do not believe that these women can wholeheartedly say, yes, the money can like override the cheating. If you love your partner, you're not a sugar baby and your eyes aren't on the prize, your man is the prize, there is not one person who could say, yeah, I'll accept cheating for the money. You'd rather have a stable relationship than the money. Again, unless we're talking about sugar babies, because I just don't understand how somebody could go through all that pain just to have a couple, I don't know, maybe a couple cars. Didn't Quavo give Saweetie a car that he took back off her though? Lol.
Allegedly.
So whatever you get.
Allegedly. Mona, I've got to come in on that one because, look, the majority of women that I have seen speak on Kevin Samuel's show are single. Majority of women on there don't have a man. Yeah? So these are women talking about what they want and situations they're willing to put themselves in, a lot of the time with no experience of it. The majority of women who are on there are not dating high value man according to what Kevin Samuel's iteration of that is. So they're saying they're looking for it and there's all these things that they're willing to put up with. Now, I think when you get into a relationship as a woman, being in a relationship, I've dated guys that are doing very, very well for themselves, but the treatment that you get when you're in it, you realize actually this isn't worth it. But if you're someone who's looking at it from the outside, if you've never been looked after by a man, if your father wasn't around, if you had a lack of food in the home and you're looking for someone to make up for being a provider or this idea of what you think it is that a man should be, you might think that will be fine. Like it will be fine. But for me, like a man splitting his emotions with you, and I don't think I've ever been cheated on. I don't know, but I don't think I've ever been cheated on. But I dated a guy once who was he was successful. Like now I see him, he's like flying on private jets and all this stuff. But it was really, really lonely in the relationship. It was really lonely because his work came first. Like, and he was just like, you know, I'll like, if we get married, you can have whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. Like when we were dating, he took me everywhere, everything. He was like, yeah, whatever you want, we'll go, blah, blah. But literally there were times when he was like, I'm working on something and I'm not going to be around for 6 weeks. And I'm like, we can't even talk. He was just like, we can talk like once a week, but I can't really get my head out of this, out of what I'm doing because I need to make sure that I'm doing it. Now, I'm not saying that's every guy, but you need to know if you're going to date a high value man, again, according to Kevin, it's going to come with certain things that you need to be willing to trade on. So he might not be there all the time and he might not be involved in your children's life and he might not support you enough and he might think that his needs in earning money are more important than yours. And I am not willing to trade on those things. I am not willing to do it. But some women are. And I think it's based around this idea of how we lift and raise up money in the world, because money does equal you more opportunities. It does equal you more power in a lot of circles. If you're a man who is kind of mediocre in looks, if you have a lot of money, you can get the woman of your dreams. It's all true. It is all true. And I think one of the issues is that we don't say that men can be fulfilled within a relationship as much as another person can fulfill you. Now, I want to be very clear on that, because there's certain things that you can be fulfilled by yourself, but there is a certain level of, maybe fulfillment is the wrong word, but there's a certain level of joy or commitment that you can have in a relationship with another person. And we don't say to men that they can find that in a woman or one woman. We don't say that. So men like Kevin can say you can have various women, blah, 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 because we don't make it out like one woman can be enough. We don't really and unless you've seen it, that actually, you know, I know men who have been very happy with their women and are happy to be a father and love on their woman. If a man has never had that, experienced that, seen that, then they will buy into what they see in the world and online and on TV, which is the more women you can have, the more of a man you are.
The better. What do we think about, I agree with what you're saying, Sophie. So going off that, what do we think about the women who do feel that they are willing to put up with cheating based on the amount of money they get or being with a high status man, high value man? What do we think about that idea being perpetuated and potentially influencing other women, younger generations, impressionable individuals into buying into that idea? What do we think about that?
Oh, I've got to let someone else talk, but I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
On this. We're going to have to extend this episode, you know, because I got too much to say.
Yeah, same. So I was actually going to ask, to what degree do we think this is societal? But I'm just going to say, I think a lot of it is very societal in nature. Now, this isn't necessarily true for everybody, and it's not true of everybody's society, but I'm Nigerian, and this is even true of everybody in Nigeria. However, there is a certain contingent of people for whom the idea is you must preserve the marriage at all costs. Whatever personal detriment might come, you must still preserve the marriage to the ends of the earth. You must try. So there have been certain instances of women who have been cheated on or have more gravely, say, been abused, and they'll go back to their families or their parents or something and say, he's done this, I don't know if I want to stay with him. And they'll be like, well, too bad. You have to try and make it work. That's just how it is. You try and make it work. And that's just one microcosm of the much greater thing, which is we keep telling women that their greatest value is in service to men. You're only really valuable if you're Mrs. You're only really valuable if you've been wifed. And the thing is, we're going to have to let that go. And it's like, we're letting it go. We're starting to, but it requires so much more in the way of societal pressure, I think. And also, like, Kevin Samuels isn't saying anything new, tragically. You know, it's, he's not saying anything that's particularly new, and he's just encouraging this very toxic kind of behavior. Because my question now becomes, okay, if it's really all about having multiple women, why can't you just be polyamorous? Why can't you just be somebody who's in open relationships? You tell your partner, hey, I'm somebody who is polyamorous, meaning I want to have multiple partners, and find somebody who's cool with that. Why must you then find somebody who is actively seeking monogamy to then make that person sweat and suffer in the relationship?
Majority of the boys, and I've said boys deliberately, majority of the boys who I have encountered have said to me, when you're dating and you're seeing each other, etc., etc., have said to me, they would be, what I'm saying, like, where's this going or whatever, they said they would like me to stay exclusive to them, but they would rather play the field.
The
And on God's green earth and blue skies, what does that mean? The idea that a woman should only have one sexual partner, be committed to you, but you would actively go out and seek attention from other women. What the hell? And just going off that point that Tariyé made about the Nigerian culture, there's also this idea, if your man cheats, it's, well, what did you not do? How did you not satisfy your woman? How did you as a woman not satisfy your man or meet the requirements of a good wife, a good girlfriend? And because of what you lacked is why he went to go cheat and find another woman. That is so dangerous to women, to internalize another person's mistake and feel that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't, doing well in work, looks, personality, house trained, whatever you want to call it, and that's the reason why my partner cheated, high value man or not. I think that's absolutely terrible, because women do internalize this, and if you do come from cultures that perpetuate that idea, that is so dangerous.
But I also think that personally, some of women's mentality nowadays isn't really helping the situation. So for me, specifically Saweetie, I'll use her as an example. I remember when she posted the video on her live saying, if he doesn't buy you a Birkin, if he isn't paying your bills, then send that guy back to the streets. That's what she said. The next thing, she wanted to put a tweet up saying, oh, about Quavo, you know, the love isn't real when it's given to multiple women. I'm just like, but you were saying that the way that we need to judge whether he's a decent guy or whether we should be with him is whether he's buying me stuff or paying for things for me. And I see a lot of women picking up that narrative of, I just want a rich man. I want a rich man. A new thing I've seen is that a woman shouldn't be paying any bills. I shouldn't have to pay any bills. And on Kevin Samuel's show, every single woman on there wants a man that's earning over 6 figures. Every single one. I'm not joking. Every single one.
What goes on this show?
And my thing is, like, as women, we need to start thinking, like, we need to stop saying that the only thing we want from a man is to be rich, because one thing that, like, I probably disagree with 90% of the things that Kevin Samuel says. Some of the things I'm just like, no, this guy, that I believe that is true. There are only a certain amount of men earning over £100,000. The higher up you go, the smaller the percentages get. Now, I'm not joking, the majority of women in my circles who are single saying that they want a man who earns a good amount of money and more than them. My thing is, there isn't enough of them to go around. If there's only like 10 to 15% of them, not everybody is going to get one. And we know that when men get money...
That's why we're sharing it.
No, but the women... Oh my gosh. This is the thing. When men get to have that certain amount of money, there seems to be a certain type of woman that they go for, and they can get the women of their dreams now, because there are women who are willing to get with guys and get to know them even though they're not that good looking because of the tax bracket that they're in. So we as women need to be like, is the only thing that a man needs to be is have money? Because we are now discounting men who might not be earning that amount of money, but would actually be good husbands, good fathers. And Saweetie said it herself. She obviously wanted a man who was going to be faithful. Derrick Jaxn's wife wanted someone who was going to be faithful and treated her good. So when these women get screwed over, Beyonce made a whole album about it when she got cheated on. And what she wants is a man who is going to be there and support her. And they want this monogamy. So there are certain things that the money can't buy, but as women as well, we need to start re-identifying and stop putting these financial parameters around what it is that we want. And I'm not saying date a broke guy who ain't got a job, because I am not saying that. A man needs to have a job. He needs to have a job. He needs to have somewhere to live. 100%. And the older you get, for sure. Like 100%, I'm saying that. But we can't just be like, all he needs to have is a big bank balance because it's gonna make me feel more secure. You can't, guys, you know, you might throw me away for this one, but we can't say as women that we want to have all this independence, all this equality, all of this, but then he still needs to earn more money than me. And I'm just like, well, that concept isn't like a modern concept. That's a dated concept. So like, we need to find a way that all of this can work together.
Can we be selectively independent?
The thing,
This is the thing though, Anissa.
for me is that
I just spiral anything. It was just a question.
No, I want to know, Anissa. Like, if you dated, sorry, just one question. Sorry, guys. If you wanted to be selectively independent, because I've wanted that as well. Like, I'm not going to tell you a story, but I wanted that as well. If you dated someone you were selectively independent and he was paying the bills and looking after that, what would your money be going on?
Listen, this is what I'm saying.
Various other expenses in the relationship.
Yeah, my thing
100%.
is, I don't even think
100%.
it has anything to do with specifically the relationship for me. It would just be like, I don't like spending my own money, period. So if it would be a parent,
Honestly.
if it was a cousin, if it was a friend, if anybody wants to pay my bills, you are more than welcome to. And I will still claim independence.
100%.
But I like free things and I like gifts. And I can't deny it. So that's what I was like, can I be selectively independent?
I agree.
But it's not a requirement.
I agree.
The
thing is, I wanted
to say was that for Sophie, when you said about you know, like, we can't be this independent and then, you know, want this man to do these things. I'm just speaking off from my own experience, for example. The roles of women has changed significantly over time. We are no longer the caregivers at home. We're out there, the breadwinners. Some women have some big bank accounts. We're bringing just as much to the table as men are. So in actual fact, we're doing double the amount of work because we're doing exactly what we did before. And then on top of that, we're making money. We're financially, we're doing all of it. My question to you, Sophie, is don't you feel that if somebody wanted a man with a 6-figure salary, etc., and someone who's faithful, we should be able to have both? And I know you're not saying that it's one without the other, but this argument almost has it falling into a black and white type of category. Like, you know, like when people say to you, if you date someone who's ugly and he's punching a bit more than you are, then there's less chances that he'll cheat on you because you're the one that's, you know, the good looking one in the relationship. So kind of giving me the same type of, no one ever heard that.
No, I've heard it, but it's wild when people say that.
I've heard it, but I never put any much store in it because I'm just like, men don't need any excuse to cheat.
No,
they cheat whether they're uglier,
Of
they
course.
cheat whether they're poorer, they'll cheat for anything.
Of course.
But just to be clear, the statistics of cheating is pretty much even. Like, men and women aren't actually that far off. Like, women are only a couple percentage lower. So this really is to everyone. And no, I'm not saying you need to be independent or have your man pay the bills. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying I think the waters become muddy when you're saying I want everything to be fair. I want everything. And you're like, but I still want him to pay for everything. And I'm like, where does that idea come from? Because I'm just saying, just to question where the idea comes from, number one. And there was another question that you asked me, can't we have it both? Yeah, we can have it both. But what I was saying is there isn't, and like for every woman that I've heard say that they want it, there isn't enough of those men. So I'm saying someone needs to sacrifice. That doesn't have to be you. And I feel like if you want that, go for what you want. Go exactly for what you want. But just like for me, I'm thinking realistically, like the numbers aren't there. So what then? That's the question I'm asking.
Okay, I guess it's just that I feel, Sophie, that it's not necessarily one or the other vis-a-vis women's independence and wanting a man to pay for things.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that.
Because the thing is, definitely, I'm not. I know that's not what you're saying. But on the off chance that's how somebody might misconstrue it. Basically, it's a little bit more nuanced than that in the sense of, even when women are that independent and are making their own money and everything, and we are making our own money, the thing that happens is that even with making our own money, we're still told, oh no, but you shouldn't flash your money about because you don't want your man to be insecure. And it's just like, what do you want from me, man? Okay, fine. So you want to be Mr. Big Man with the money. Oh yeah, I'll pay for everything. How dare you want me to pay for everything? I can't win. We can't win for losing. Is how I feel sometimes.
I think it is very nuanced, but I am also not under women. I'm not here for women hiding their wealth. I'm here for women being as successful as they want to be. Yeah. It's a layered conversation, guys. Yeah, it's a layered conversation.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you for watching and listening to Ethnically Speaking. Let's keep the conversation going. Do you think that women should accept bad behavior from men with money? Let us know in the comments below. For a summary of everything that we've talked about, head over to unitedmelaningroup.com/ES059. There's a link in the description below. If you're watching us on YouTube, remember to give us a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, hit the bell button just so you don't miss a thing. We will see you on Wednesday when we talk about the new consequences of not paying child support. In the meantime, wash your hands, wear your mask, keep your distance, and stay safe out there.